Hey guys, this video is a step-by-step guide on how to install your new privacy plate. In this box, you have your glass, instructions, wires, and hardware. This is your remote. This is your hardware right here, so you can mount it to the car. Here's your 4-meter long cable, so you can route it from the license plate all the way either through your battery or your auxiliary port, which I'll show you later. And here's the indicator light. Here you have the receiver, and then you have the optional cigarette power. You can choose to use a cigarette power if you wish. Your mounting bracket will be in here. You can pop it out, and that should be pretty much it. If you opted for the screen protector, this will also be in your kit. Before we get started, this glass is very sensitive. It's very sensitive. Please handle it very gently. Don't press on it. Don't bend it. Just try to be very gentle with this because it will crack. And they're very expensive. So just try to be very gentle with it. You can clean it with Windex, wipe it down. That works fine. Also, be very gentle with this cable right here. You can bend it, but try not to mess with this too much or it will cut. And you're pretty much going to need to buy a new one. About this glass, the front side doesn't have a film. The back side does have a film. This is how you know it's the back side. So when you get this, turn it around, peel this film completely off, and then you'll be good to go. Make sure to do that or else it won't look right. It'll look weird. So yeah, make sure to do that. And if you opted for a screen protector, clean the front side very well to make sure that there's no bubbles. You don't want any dust or hairs because bubbles will appear. Make sure it's completely clean and dry. It's pretty straightforward. Kind of like an iPhone screen protector, you grab this, follow the instructions here, and once you peel it, place that over and paste it in there with a credit card. Just put it on there very gently. Do not press too hard on the glass while installing the protector. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the glass. Again, be very gentle with it because it will crack and it would suck if it cracks. Now for the instructions, the wiring is very important as well. Make sure to read these instructions, follow them very carefully. If you do, you should have zero issues. You have to follow the numbers on the instructions. We're on 6 to 5, so this is 6 to 5 here. And also very important, you see this groove that's there? It lets you know that you're plugging it in the right way. Please double check that you're plugging it in the right way. See the groove right there? You want to make sure that it's plugged in the right way. There, connected. Now we have the number 4 for the instructions. Number 4, it goes to the split. It goes right here. Make sure to double check once again. The grooves are in the right place. Right there, that's good. Then on this side of the split, the indicator light goes on there. For the instructions, we have the indicator light. Make sure that the groove is the correct way and you have the indicator light. Cool. So this is kind of like your own little wiring harness right here. Now, after the split comes the receiver box. Make sure you're following the numbers on the receiver box once again. It says number 3 right there. Make sure that this is number 3. Follow the grooves and it goes like that. And then here, you can choose how you want to power it. Number 2 goes to whichever power you want. You can either go to the cigarette lighter, like this, is 2 to 1. Plug it in right there, and then you can plug this into your cigarette lighter. Or you can choose to wire it directly to your battery. It comes with this cable, same way right there, and now you can wire it directly to your battery. That's pretty much how you wire this. Make sure you follow the numbers throughout the instructions. If you don't follow them, all sorts of funny stuff will happen with this glass. It's going to blink and malfunction. You also might fry the receivers, so it won't work if you don't follow the numbers. Now we're getting onto the mounting bracket. I have different license plates here. We made this mounting bracket specifically for the California plate because all the plates in the United States should be identical. I think I just found out that the California plates are one of the smallest, which is a weird thing. But if you were to put a California plate in there, it's perfect and snug. It's made perfectly for the California one. You see how smoothly that goes in there? Flawless, right? The issue I found out recently was that actually not all plates are made the same. So if you have a Texas one, for example, I believe these are also small. Yeah, Texas is actually smaller, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I did notice that the East Coast plates are a little bit bigger. I have this New York one and it's pretty tight. So it fits, but you've got to push it down in there. It might be like maybe a half a millimeter too big, but what I suggest is if your plate doesn't go all the way down, grind down one of the edges right here just a little bit to give it an extra millimeters so it can fit snugly. because if it doesn't go all the way down and it's kind of popping out like that, you might compromise the glass when you put it all together. You might squeeze the glass and then break it, or something may happen. So I suggest you grind down a little bit of your plate to make it fit in there. This Virginia one, I tested it and it's just plain big for some reason. Let's see how that works. So if you have a Virginia plate or any plate that doesn't fit like this, I suggest just grinding this down a little bit, just maybe 2 millimeters. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna go with the California plate. So we're gonna go ahead and use the screen protector glass. Remember that the back side had the film on it, which you took off, and the front side, if you opted for the screen protector, has the screen protector on it. Yeah, so pretty much what you do is place the glass over the license plate like so. Make sure not to scratch the back part. Try not to move it too much because it will scratch. Then stick this wire through this hole right here. So go through the hole, and that's pretty much all there is to it. One thing I noticed is that some plates have this embossed lettering taller than others. For example, this Texan one doesn't even have an embossed lettering. So when we designed this mounting bracket, we designed it for the California plates. So if you have a California plate, you're good to go. It'll fit snugly. But if you have a Texas one, for example, with no embossing, you might feel some slack on the glass and it might move around a little bit. What I suggest is adding a bit of soft felt padding inside, starting at 1 millimeter and working up from there. You don't want it too tight to squeeze the glass, but you also don't want it too loose. This is so the glass doesn't move around too much, because if it moves around, it might break. Now let's move on to the car and show you how to screw it on. Now let's move on to the car. Now every car is different, but what cars do have in common is this LED light that goes above your license plate. It's an OEM light. Every car has it by law. What you can do is route the cable through that by taking it off completely or unscrewing it just a little bit and passing that cable through there. Once you pass the cable through there, you're pretty much in your car and you can choose how you want to route it to either your battery or your cigarette lighter. It may seem like the most difficult part, but it's actually the easiest. Now, this is the most difficult part. Mounting this, I suggest having two people, one to hold the frame for you and another to plug it in. But here I did it by myself. It's possible, just a little bit tricky. Holding this frame on my knee, I was able to use two hands to connect the wires. Once the wires are connected, it's good to go. And what I'm going to do now after is hide the wires behind the frame and then prop up the frame to my holes. Once my frame is propped up to the holes, I'm going to lift the glass over, use the hardware that's included in the box. It's your choice to use the washers or not. I'm going to leave that up to you. I didn't use the washers. Now, this may seem a little tricky, but you just got to screw it in on each side. Make sure not to scratch the glass once again. And once it's screwed in, flip the glass down and put your frame cover over it. And that's pretty much it. Now you have to lock the frame cover over. On the right and left side, there are little holes. All you got to do is screw in the hardware that we included in your kit into these holes and it'll lock in place. Now, the way I wired this into the car was through the cigarette lighter. You just got to plug it in right there. The only thing about the cigarette power is that it will only work when the car is on auxiliary mode. If the car is turned off, the key is off, the plate will not work. So if you're choosing to power it this way, you have to have the car in auxiliary mode, not powered on, but on auxiliary mode. If you want to have access to this plate 24/7 without having the car on auxiliary mode, just wire this directly to your battery. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for purchasing. I hope you enjoy this privacy plate. And if you haven't gotten a screen protector for it yet, we have it live on the website.